everyone, and welcome back to Raising NA, the show that does not have a tagline quite yet. My name is Smax, and I'm joined by Cubby and Rafa, the boys. They're all here, and we're all ready to talk about some NA League of Legends with you all today. And yeah, let's kick it right off. Cubby, we did our co-stream on the past 4 days.
Yes.
We were streaming on this channel for like every single day for so long. It was a great time.
We managed. It was I mean some, we were in and out. We had some Raafaa pool stream action. We had some Raafaa music stream action. We had some
ice cream.
Cubby's wait because he's playing bad golf action. We had some we're gonna order ice cream halfway through action. It was all action. It was all fun. So I had a good time. Super cool of Riot to grant us the privilege to all three of us, and then a whole host of others as well who we were kind of rating people back and forth and trying to get a lot of eyes on collegiate. And hell, the top 8, I think it really delivered. I think the top 8 was a lot of fun this weekend.
It was awesome. And it all culminated with Raz and Kangas taking us through the journey of the young Frost Forest winning the entire thing with Winthrop. Rafa's boy.
Oh
my god.
Baby! Let's go!
Hell yeah. It was so sick. Oh my god. Okay, so the whole event was just really, really cool to watch all the way through. Bethany made it to top 4, which was awesome. Winthrop taking the entire thing. Saskio taking his 3rd victory in CLOL. It was all crazy, and it felt like every single one of the series was really, really competitive too in the top 8.
I think that for me it was really fun to see a program like Harrisburg get to top 4. They put a ton of investment in. I think they showed up really well. I thought they had great setups yesterday. Even talking with Peter Dunn about it on Twitter, he thought that they had better teamfight setups. I agree. I think Winthrop won just because they played the map a little bit better. I think Bethany, Bradley's insane. That team making top 4 was unexpected. They beat UWO and Toronto to get there. Those are 2 really good and historied programs, both who have made finals before from Canada. And so Bethany, they had a tough path to make top 4, but in the end, every fan wanted to see Maryville versus Winthrop. And in the end, what a story for Hybrids and Saskio, who were a part of Maryville. They went through some roster changes. They wanted to bring in some new people. They ended up not being on a collegiate team. They go over to Winthrop. They have good things going over there. They had a better showing for all proving grounds in the spring, and now CLOL comes around. I thought Maryville was going to take it, but Winthrop, they proved us all wrong. I mean, that was a close series yesterday, but they came out a completely different team today.
Yeah. I remember, we were just watching it a little bit ago, and the team fights especially were so nuts.
That game 4, game 3 and 4 were some of the best collegiate League of Legends games I've ever seen since the Niles
game 2
5.
was close too. Game 2 was even close because Maryville were winning it for a good bit. Even after they hard lost top lane, Chippy's died first blood to a dive. Spirax tried to save him, also died. And then Chippy's teleports top and also dies. So it's 3-0 in the first 3 minutes of the game. It was so crazy. And then they brought it back.
Yeah.
And Chippy's almost came back and carried the entire thing. And then the Doxa Shockwave with 4 members in it, and then the Aatrox fucking dunk on him. Yeah. Oh my god.
Smax, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember the game that Winthrop had against Cloud9 Amateur and Doxa hit that 5-man shockwave over on Wisdom?
Yep.
Dude.
That's what brought me back. That I immediately had a flashback to that moment, and I was like, oh my god, this kid
is just a Doxa diff.
So insane.
I mean, I love, Peter Dunn yesterday on Twitter even said, man, having Doxa in collegiate must be a cheat code for your program. Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, to be fair, I was actually pretty hyped for Spirax versus Doxa, but I think Doxa and all of Winthrop really played great. I thought Hybrid Scion was crazy impressive in that game 4 and actually hard carried, Winthrop through that game 4. He went off game 2 and 4. He had a massive game today. And I don't know. I think it was a really hype finals. I can't say enough. I don't know. I have one other thing on Saskio, but overall, I thought that it was a major improvement for LOLCC. I think 32 teams was fun. I think some of the partner programs could improve a little bit because I don't like seeing plat teams in top 32 when my team was D1 average and we're out. But, it is what it is, and it's work in progress. And I think Tizza and Trinity are going to, from talking with them, I'm pretty confident for like what they have in plan for collegiate. I think they're going to work on that a lot. Yeah.
It's just such a hype event. And it only happens like the one time a year, right? So we just got to wait until next May, and it's going to be just as hype, I think, because it was really good. And the nice thing is that next May, it'll probably be in person, which is super cool.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. We'll see.
Raafaa, do you have anything else? I do have some closing thoughts on Saskio.
Yeah. For me, I got emotional about it earlier on the co-stream today. But Frost Forest, just seeing his journey. I had a conversation with him before he left for Winthrop. At the time, I thought he was still going back to Harrisburg, and he was. But then they had tryouts, and then the new junglers came in over for Harrisburg, and so I didn't know what the story was behind the scenes of his transition over to Winthrop, and I felt bad because I thought, I just thought that he wasn't given that fair of a chance, but the coaching staff decides in the end what it is. So for him, I think this Winthrop squad was a story of multiple redemption arcs, right? Frost Force taking down his old team in Harrisburg in last night's semifinal, and then coming out on top here. Hybrids, of course, coming from Maryville University as the sub to Niles, which, when you have Niles in your squad, it never seems like you'll ever get a starting position at that time. And even Saskio as well, winning a championship with Maryville, I believe 2 years ago, to then graduate and have as his graduation gift to win against his former team. So there's something beautiful and poetic about all of that coming together and closing out his season.
Huge congrats to Winthrop. Props are out.
Yeah, a couple milestones today on Saskio as well. There have been 6 CLOL championships. Saskio has won 3 of them. Those 3 championships that Saskio has have been won on 2 different programs and playing 2 different positions. No other program or player has won 3 championships, let alone winning it at 2 different programs, playing 2 different positions, and winning half of the collegiate championships that existed, and winning with half of the programs that have ever won collegiate in the first place. Saskio is the fucking GOAT, and it's unarguable in my minds for collegiate. Is he the best player that's ever come out of collegiate? No, that's Niles. It's always going to be the face of Niles. But when you look back at his accomplishments, what he accomplished while he was in collegiate, the guy's the fucking GOAT. And he goes out on top. It's pretty cool, and I'm really looking forward to see if any player, as we move into the future of collegiate and the future of this esport, can topple the legacy of Saskio that he left. Also, wholesome interview. Great guy to talk to. We got to interview him as well in the top 16. Definitely team leader, and with him and Frost Force bringing that team over the finish line, pretty crazy. And really cool for Winthrop as the Eagles soar high. They win LOLCC, their program's first national championship. Very hype.
Cubby, the only other player to win a consistent large-scale pro tournament 3 times in 6 years. Do you know who that player is? It's fucking Faker.
Yeah, but it's
Saskio's the Faker of CLOL.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. He is.
Objectively speaking, he is the Faker of CLOL.
That's a nice title. You should put that in.
There you go. Somebody should tell him.
Yeah.
But anyway, Saskio, if you're listening, you're Faker. Literally. But yeah, so CLOL, it was really, really fun. Congratulations to the Throppers. It was just an incredible tournament. I have one sort of topic of discussion around this. If you would like to get into this, Cubby, I want to pick your brain on this CLOL, not to go into a cynical side of it, but I am curious what your thoughts are on how this CLOL stacks up in terms of team and player strength to other years of CLOL as the resident expert.
I don't think this is much of a interesting discussion or chat. I think that former CLOL years were better. I think 2019, 2018, 2017 were more stacked. And when you look at the body of players that are playing in CLOL and the state of amateur at the time, CLOL was very competitive, and there was a discussion between collegiate and amateur. Now that amateurs opened up, gotten more support, I don't think that there's a discussion anymore. Doxley isn't the best player in the Rift in every single Proving Grounds game. He was for every game he played in collegiate. So, yeah, I think that is pretty null. I think the interesting part is that Maryville came in as the heavy favorites. I think that the storyline for me of the tournament was the fact they swapped mid laners going to the round of 16. I think they did so because they realized their team fighting wasn't quite good enough, and they needed a better mechanical mid, and it was also better in the meta to go up against Doxton and Winthrop. This is the finals that like everyone wanted. These finals definitely delivered. That's what I'm focusing on. But my last bold statement before we leave is that if Maryville's B team was playing at this tournament, they would have top 4 or top 8. So, yeah. I think that both teams are insane. I still think Maryville's top program, but Winthrop, they were the better 5-man program today, and they won. So props to them and their staff. I know I said 5-man. It's a lot of people behind the staff as well that helped them out, and I'm real big congrats to them, and I'm really excited. As this will be the second and last time we probably talk about collegiate here for a while in Raising NA, as we have to move on to our standard 3 topics.
Actually, before we close out, I just want to add one little thing. As Smax has dubbed him the faker of collegiate, this is also the same dude that got to Challenger playing Yuumi with his feet. So
not quite Challenger, but Master Tier is pretty damn good.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? That doesn't fit my narrative, Cubby. So we're just going to call it
Shut
Challenger.
up, Cubby.
Just move on. You got the next
he's
topic
faker.
intro anyway.
His feet are faker too.
Well, as that being said, and wrapping up collegiate, as that was the whole month of May was a beautiful thing that happened, a nice roller coaster. But it does bring us to one of the main big 3 that we like to talk about in Raising NA is semi-pro. Top prospects lists have been released on Mobalytics, and if you guys don't
exclamation
know,
point Mobalytics in the chat.
We are actually pairing up or teaming up with Tim Sevenhuysen, aka Magic, who reached out to the 3 of us asking us to be part of this really cool project where I believe it's every 2 weeks we release our top prospects list, and then between the 4 of us, after combining our individual lists, we pull them together and release a combined list that is featured on Mobalytics' official site for esports and players in Proving Grounds as the top prospects list for the summer split.
Yeah.
So this will be something that you can keep track of, and Cubby can kind of break down for you the detailed information of how the points stack up.
Yeah, pretty much last split, like Tim ping. I don't know who Tim had on his list. I know I was on my list, or like his list of people to ping, and it wasn't consistent, like everyone that got back to him. So hopefully this is more consistent, and there's more transparency on Tim's part. He realizes some of the shortcomings of the list. And to be clear, on prospects, we are taking out anyone with LCS, like heavy LCS experience. I think starting LCS experience was...
Or equivalent in other regions.
Yeah, or equivalent in other regions. And so I think those were the parameters for the list. So someone like Tuesday, who has subbed in for LCS, still qualifies for the list. That said, we're giving 15 players. The last 5 are given 1 point. I kind of handle those as honorable mentions. Anyway, but we all have our own list, and Tim has his as well, and we have permission to talk about Tim's and also where the total list is. And so I think that we should start with the cumulative list and kind of go through that, and we can talk about our individual lists to go from that. So, Smax, do you have the cumulative one?
I do. So again, if you would like to follow along with us, you can type exclamation point Mobalytics in the Twitch chat, and you can see the list through there. If you're listening to an audio version of the podcast, you can just go to our Twitch chat and do the command, or you can look it up. I think we're all tweeting it today, so you can check it out there. But anyway, getting into the list. So, like Cubby said, all of us contributed, the four of us, so three of us on the show, and also Tim, to this list, and it was scored based on like where everyone placed everyone in the top 15, but only the top 10 show up on the website. And number one is exactly the same as it was before when it was just Cubby and Tim doing it, I believe.
Nope.
Um,
Number one was Fnatic. This is Tuesday.
Yep. No, Fnatic is number one.
Oh, he still is? Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, sorry. I should probably pull the list up on my own, shouldn't I?
You probably should.
Yeah, it might be a
But
good call.
yeah, Fnatic is number one. Tuesday made number two. And yeah, I think that both of these two guys really speak for themselves up here. Mark and I had them as our number one and number two as well in the reverse order, but we still had them as the top two.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, yeah, going through what we have. First off, I think Fnatic is a hell of a player. I think he's been very strong. I don't have him as my top player, and Tim and I were very unanimous in who we think our top player is. And for me, that is hands down, without a doubt, the best performing members of Proving Grounds in these first few weeks has been Darkwings. And given Darkwings' rank beforehand, me and Tim both had him number one. I feel really, really, really strongly about that. He has been playing out of his goddamn mind. And Darkwings, for me, he, like, as a player, what I know from him is, yeah, he had this pocket Aatrox, right? But in, like, his first few weeks of Proving Grounds and all, like, the entirety of Proving Grounds split in the last split, he was playing mages. That was the meta. And he was doing very well on mages. I had him as my second best performing mid behind Tuesday. I think that Five Fire stepped up towards the back half of the split. Obviously, that's why Norik won. I thought he had a down split for most of the split until Proving Grounds, the main event, actually started. Darkwing is my second best mid. Him on Brawlers is fucking insane. He's an entirely different player on Brawlers. He has been going legendary on Lee Sin. His Silas is still as good as it was back in the spring split. And like everything this guy does at this point just blows my mind. Most people see him and RBM getting a roster downgrade over on AoE, but AoE's been playing damn good League of Legends, and it's been off the back of RBM and Darkwings. I think Darkwings, for me, I think he not only is the best mid, he's hands down the best performing player in Proving Grounds for me. I'm really surprised that you guys had Tuesday. I think very highly of Jean. He was my third prospect, but I don't have it as my best mid. I think it's Darkwings by a long shot. I was very surprised that you guys had Tuesday your best performing mid.
Well, Cubby, you'd be surprised to know that Darkwings is not my top mid lane. He's not my second mid lane, and he's not my third mid lane either.
Yeah, I know. That's criminal. That's egregious.
I have, so my list is public on my Twitter. If you would like to
It's public
see it
on all of our
visually.
Twitters, yeah.
Yes. You can go look at all of them there. So Darkwings for me, I have him at 9 on my list, and I do agree with you that his play in the past few series has been phenomenal. And the new play style as well is really cool. I am a little bit worried about the structure of this team, as you mentioned, that I am one of those doubters who believes that AoE is overall a downgrade to Zeus. And while that doesn't mean a lot for him, like as a player, it does mean that it makes him more of the direct carry every single time. Which is great. I have him on my list regardless. But I have personally valued the mid lane strengths of Tuesday, who is my number one, Bradley, who is my number 4, which is way higher than everyone else, I believe.
Yeah.
And also Doxa, who I have as number 5.
Yeah,
I think mid lane is super stacked.
I think mid lane is pretty strong, and there are good prospects mid. I don't think Bradley can play control mages, and for me, that just completely eliminates him from top contention when you aren't flexible enough mid, and I think that's being shielded early and will be exposed later as Wildcard goes on. As Wildcard are the best team, but I think that them and AoE are actually playing the best league right now in Proving Grounds, so that's another story. I think you are giga trolling with Darkwings that low, but that's my opinion, so.
Yeah, like I said, I think mid lane is really, really stacked. I have 6 mid laners on my list of 15 players, and 4 of them are in my top 10. And I think that the closeness of my list is a lot tighter than what you're describing as Darkwings being far and away number one. Like for instance, I don't think that my number 4 is that far away from my number 9 on my list, but I am personally more excited by Bradley and Dox at this time.
Okay,
I do want to say
Okay.
before I let you go in, I do want to say I did put them on this list. I constructed this list before we got into the top 4 of the tournament. So it's not just recency bias of them two popping off.
Yeah, this is only based on Proving Grounds play. I didn't actually take any collegiate play into consideration when rating Doxa. Couple reasons. First off, this is also prospects, right? For me, I had a little bit, and I think when doing lists, it's actually really important to like kind of talk through the process of how I made this list.
Right.
And like what our criteria was. So for me, how much team exposure and experience you have comes into play with this. That's also why I rate Darkwings as number 1. He's had none of that. This guy played on Stony Brook, and then he played on an amateur team. He's had no exposure to like that next level of coaching that a franchise org would bring in, and yet I feel like he's outperforming every single mid that's currently playing in like Cup. And so that plays a big factor for me as well in my criteria. Most criteria, I weighed recent play, overall play. That's why Tomio is still my number 2. Solo queue is not that. I didn't weigh solo queue for like any of the players except for maybe one, just because I have a good talking point because it always catches people off guard. And then I still weighed a lot of what I saw in the last season, but I did change a lot of things based on recency. And since I was contributing previously, a lot of my thoughts were kind of shown there, so this isn't as big of a stray as what I think we might have. Like, the list changed a lot this week because we just kind of changed the criteria of like who's contributing. So I think my list was a lot closer to previous weeks, but yeah.
If we're getting into criteria, my criteria for my top 15 is how much work it would take to put this player into a higher position right now and how good they would perform.
Okay, your list then makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Based on that criteria. Okay.
Because that was my definition of a prospect.
But
I looked at it and I was like,
I think you're trolling with Bradley and Wixie.
Oh, you want to talk about Wixie?
Yeah.
I will talk about Wixie right now.
Okay. Anyway, I think that
actually
Wixie's really good.
We should let Raafaa say something.
Yeah,
probably.
Wixie's really good, but you're totally recency biased.
I'm good.
Anyway.
I'm good. You two bicker like an old couple. I'm just.
You two. Okay. Why are you two so much higher on Wixie than me?
Because Wixie is one of the sole reasons why Cloud9 Amateur upset Zeus.
Yep.
Yes.
And Zeus is supposed to be probably the best team we have in Proving Grounds. Not including Golden Guardians Academy because, they're... So, for Cup, I imagine that the top 2 teams that are going to be in that final are just based on paper, Zeus and Golden Guardians. I think it was last Saturday I said that, EG Prodigies might be in the finals. But literally, there's like 4 or 5 really strong teams. And if you just look at the talent that's on paper, but Wixie, man, is in fucking sane. And
yes.
I slept on him back in spring. I won't be making that same mistake again because when I looked at that Cloud9 Amateur roster, I made the mistake of saying, man, EXU is in ELO hell right now. Like, all of his teammates look subpar. And now I'm like, wow. EXU, Wixie, and Breezy are, like, insane. I think Speedo is serviceable, but nowhere near the top of the competition when it comes to the other top laners. Captain Shrimps has niche picks, but he reminds me of APA when APA was a weaker player. Because Captain Shrimps has a very niche pool, and I don't think is as fleshed out. So I look at the solo lanes for Cloud9 Amateur, and when you looked at Zeus' roster, their strengths are their solo lanes. So the fact that Wixie was able to somehow overcome all of that and just come out on huge in that best of 3 against Zeus, I literally think that with the resources that Wixie gets and the limited roster that he has, the fact that he's able to overperform like that makes him like the strongest and most exciting prospect. It doesn't take away anything from players like Shoryu and Gorka, who normally I would have had higher up, and just like, you know what, these guys have been in academy before. They're definitely ready at that level. They should go back. But someone who hasn't had the chance before and should is now, I honestly believe, is Wixie.
I'm pretty aligned with that. He's the biggest win condition on Cloud9 Amateur, and it has been since the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And I'm super high on him. I think his team fights are really solid. I think he is one of the stronger enabling AD carries that lets Breezy roam around and will still like live and find advantages bot in the isolation. And that is something that I value very, very highly in an AD carry. It's why I have Shoryu so high. Because I think that he has shown a lot. Talking about Shoryu, I think he's shown a lot over the past over a year now that he's very, very good at that play style. And I've been high on Shoryu for a very long time because of that. And that is a very similar thing to what I see in Wixie right now. Except unlike last year, where Shoryu is permanently playing Senna, Wixie's playing things like Tristana, and it's still working out. And he's still like jumping in and finding crazy team fights and things. So I'm very, very high on Wixie. I think he's a mechanical freak, and I think that if he were to be slotted into an academy team right now, then it would work just fine.
I don't agree with that last point. I think he's good. I think that the reason that Wixie looks better and why you guys are rating him higher is because his team is playing better and the meta shift is way, 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 way better for Exio in the jungle. His strength is playing gankers. He's playing gankers, and they're playing with Captain Shrimps and Speedo. They're giving Exio gank assists. They're playing through him. And I really think, the fact that he's able to skip camps and make more proactive plays on the map and not pick Udyr and then not full clear and get the same result, except you're not as good of a ganker, for me, that's the major change. And I think that this meta just shifted more into where C9 is comfortable. I think Wixie's playing the same. I think that I overrated him at putting him as my second AD, really. I don't think, he's good. For me, I think that he's not as close to where you guys have him. I don't think he's the top performing AD in Proving Grounds. I think he's second or third. It's a coin flip between him and Array for me. So,
well, Cubby,
yeah.
I don't have Exio on my list at all. If that tells you anything,
Raafaa does,
because
Tim does.
I do know that.
Tim does,
but
yeah, Tim does.
I fully agree with you that this meta favors Exio, and that's why he's looking better.
Mm-hmm.
But Wixie was already looking good. And now he's looking even stronger.
But he's looking stronger because his team's playing better. He was still making good decisions and doing all this last split. So that's
you see, Cubby.
Yeah, I'm not getting the recency bias.
I had a very high opinion of him last split too. And you guys know that because I talked about him all the time. So I'm keeping that right here. I actually have him higher on my list than he ended up on the conglomerate list.
Yeah.
Because of that. But only one spot higher.
Okay.
But I think Wixie's very good.
Other questions that I have. First off, Shoryu's not on my list. That's one that's missing. He's not playing well with SkyTech at the moment. They will probably make an appearance as their season goes on. I have faith in EGP coaching staff, but he's good enough. He's more of a known quantity to me. He probably should have been on here, but he did not have a good week. I think that Wixie and Array played better. So that's why once I get more data, he probably ends up on there. He's not on there for me. I'm noticing really interesting back half mid rankings, as you guys both had, respectively, Smacks, you had Strompist, and Raafaa, you had Robbie Bob on your list.
Well, you know why Raafaa has Robbie Bob.
Okay. Do you guys want to explain those?
Yeah. I think Strompist is the win condition for Supernova right now, and he is one of the biggest reasons why they're winning games. I think he's really good still. And I yeah, I don't have too much more to say. He's not very high on my list, but I think he deserved the nod.
Okay. Um, I very much viewed the final 5 as honorable mentions. For
Mhm.
this one, definitely a few players that I wanted to talk about. One, um, I think Rhinos showing improvements in laning, and that for Raheen and Rhinos, their
Rhino's
biggest
really
step.
good.
They team fight really well. And for me,
I have
they're
Rhino
up there.
very high, by the way.
Yeah, that's really high.
I think he's very good. He is one of the only supports right now that I'm seeing alongside Winter actually, who is performing very well on Gragas and is picking it a lot. And I think
Gragas is
I
nuts.
value that very highly because that pick is very mechanical and is very valuable to have on a team. And Rhino's doing it, and he's playing other champions well too. So
Also,
I
Raafaa,
I agree.
you are such a savant for picking Quacker. Please talk me through why Quacker's on your list.
Wildcard Black's main strengths are in their solo laners, and they are performing really well, and they are in some of the scrims, from or not scrims, from the OQ matches. There's a little, I'm trying to remember which games there were. There's a couple games where it's pretty doomed. The enemy team had focused down the bot lane of Wildcard Black, losing resources. Quacker and Robbie Bob were the sole reasons why they came back in those games. I mean, I don't really need to explain why. I love Robbie Bob so much. In fact, if you need the explanation, I can
Go link a clip.
pull up the clip
Yeah.
that I had. You know, I think everyone knows that clip. So, but for Quacker, when I sat down with Morgan, and I had a conversation with Morgan and Prussian, and I know Prussian showed me some of Quacker's laning phases, and he pointed out like specific things that Quacker was doing that not other top laners were doing it.
Yep.
Unfortunately for me, there's a lot of things that kind of went over my head because and I'm just going to acknowledge this, I am nowhere near as smart as some of the people that do so much work behind the scenes as analysts, as coaches. I'm comfortable with admitting that, and it's why I was, even though I was really flattered to come onto this project, I was very anxious about putting a list together because I wanted to make sure that I was doing the best that I could and speaking up for players that I think truly deserve to be mentioned and to have a shot at the higher next or like the next level, whether it's Academy or LCS, based on the conversations I've had with them, their character as people, and things that I have heard in terms of praise or just notable mentions from coaches and analysts that I respect. So I'm more than happy to accept Flame for my list because I know that, you know, most of these choices are coming not necessarily from my own quantitative calculations. It is really other merits that I look for.
I mean, it's important to, like, you know, we all kind of keep our ear close to what's going on. I definitely had an appearance or two that, like, other people, I talked with other people I respect, and they think somewhat highly of them as well, and that's maybe why you snuck into my honorable mentions one week and maybe not another. A couple of unique players I do want to point out. Tim is the only person that has Busio on his list. I think that Busio, if you go look at one of his Rel games, he had like 2 or 3 flash predict Ezreal engages that were disgusting. Or Rel engages against an Ezreal that was just gross.
Yeah.
I also have Quack on my
Something
list.
about the 100 Thieves set support. It's nice.
Yeah. I have Quacker on my list as well. I think that there's a bit of a gap between the top laners that have LCS experience and the rest of the field. I think that Quacker is one of the few top laners that's able to close that, and I've been really impressed with his play as well. This is a very new name, but I wanted to shout out Lynx and Faisal, as these are 2 players that are very new to amateur, and I think they've actually really impressed me in their first week of play. I kind of put him on that list as I view that more as honorable mentions, and I wanted to give him a shout out, even though like they aren't on my top 10 yet. I think they're playing good league. And I would counter Smack's your point of Strops being the carry Supernova and say that it's actually been really Lynx focused, and his Tristan is good. I've enjoyed watching it. So yeah.
I think
really
the Lynx
strong.
nod is perfectly warranted.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll say about that.
Yeah.
There is something kind of crazy about the 80 carries that come out of Supernova. If you look at the history of, the people that come from there, if you think about it, Tactical being the most notable one, but then Value has come from there, who just won Proving Grounds with no org this past spring split. You also have
Jurassic.
Jurassic was a great one of his time as well, who won with Radiance back in spring of 2019.
He's super noobs, man.
And then,
super
of
noobs
course,
are pretty good.
I know I didn't put Array on my personal list. He was, if I pull up my Excel sheet that I had when I was kind of going over who are my top 5 players in each role before I had to pick my 15. Array was my number 5. So
I have Array second or third, but yeah.
I don't mean any disrespect to Array, because I've seen firsthand, me and Smax have seen firsthand how crazy he is in team fights and in late games, and when Jinx can, have a monster cap over Baron, then enough said. And I know my camera is frozen right now.
You look smart. I mean, like that freeze frame,
actually.
you looked really super
It
duper.
was a good freeze frame.
That was
looks
not
good.
intentional, I promise.
Okay, we'll believe you.
But I think there's other things that Array needs to work on, and something to mention. We'll bring it up again. This list will change every 2 weeks,
yes.
and it gets updated. So
we are on low data
Array,
at the moment.
I think
more
very
and more
highly
accurate
of you in team fights and your positioning in the mid to late game. I want to see your progression in the early laning phase. If you do that.
There you go. It's like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine Captain Holt thing, where you take a sip to see if your audience will still listen to you and wait for you to say something.
There you go.
I just like
Nice.
I just like the fact that we were like, when we were like pitching this show, we were like talking about like, oh, we could just be like the dads of NA, and that's like a total dad thing you just did, where it's like, you know what, Array, I believe in you. You do these things well. You got to work on this one thing to get my full trust. You got it. Raafaa dad.
That's right.
Yep, that's Raafaa dad right there.
Okay.
All right. Well,
anything else
perfect.
to go over?
I don't have too much else to say. I'm pretty happy with my list. I only have one top laner on it, which is another thing that I know you were getting at, Cubby. Well, you were saying that like there's a pretty big difference between the top laners in Cup that have the LCS experience and those that don't.
Yes.
With that being said, the only top laner I have in my top 15 is PCL, and I think that he would be the next top laner to get that chance that hasn't already had one.
I think PCL's solid. He's shown in the past he can vie with that. I wanted to give nods at the moment to Quacker and Faisal. I do think that Quacker's the best performing top laner outside of Niles, Alorum, Dokla, and as Niles and Alorum have been playing pretty damn good league. Yeah. So
Niles, Alorum, and Dokla are the ones that we're referring to.
Yeah, Niles is kind of shitting down everyone's throats. Not to get too graphic, but Jesus,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's been brutal. So
also, I did want to point out, if I were to have a top 16, my 16th player would have been Quacker, but I did not put him up because I only get 15. I echo Cubby's sentiments about how Quacker has been impressive on Wildcard Black. So.
Yeah, dude, Quacker's playing damn good league on that team. And I think that team is very surprising. Anyway, enough about the player tour list. We're going to be doing this every other week. Hopefully we don't get canceled. We're going to do our best to do our homework, do our research. We're watching a lot of league. And yeah, we're doing this to, try to make things more official and transparent for all of you. As I know that was one of the big complaints of the list. So
please check out the list as well. Mobalytics. You can look at it right there, and you can get it in front of your face. Please do check out the Mobalytics website. They've done us a great favor, and we're really happy to help them out with that. And we're here to provide some more clarity to it as well, as that has been, I think, the biggest complaint of what it was in the previous split. That's what this segment's going to be. Every other week, we're going to help provide clarity to the top prospects list. And we're happy to answer questions and things along that lines in our Discord, which you can check out, !Discord.
Also,
anyway,
feel free to flame us, because you can't see it, but we actually have a flame repellent shield under our skin. So
if we did screw up, let us know. We're interested to get a good discussion going around this. So
I mean, I'm pretty sure at some point we will all screw up this summer as we make rankings, and I will happily accept, like, and retweet the tweets that say, "Ha! Imagine ranking me as your 11th best player," which I imagine RBM will say once he takes down, or if he takes down any of our higher rated junglers. As RBM would, and it would be banger content, and I would fully endorse it. So,
facts. All right. Well, with that all being said, let's get into the actual games that are happening tomorrow and the next day for Cup, which are the round 3 of the first round robin and the quarterfinals. We're already getting into playoffs.
Ooh, do you want to do any reactions to what went down? Like, cover the last week?
Sure. So, the biggest piece of news that came from that, we already alluded to it with the prospects list.
I need a fucking Raafaa reaction to this.
Cloud9 Amateur took down Zeus.
Raafaa, what do you think?
You cut out for me. Can you repeat?
What do you think of that series? The C9 Amateur versus Zeus. I need a Raafaa reaction, man. That was nuts.
I just remember seeing game 2, and I'm thinking, wow. I thought in game 2, I was like, wow, well, good for Cloud9. They get to take off a game of Zeus. And then, but I'm finishing up the stream I did with Resolve, with Returned and Coco, and I come back, and then I see game 3 unfolding, and I'm just thinking, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Is this real life? And
I think C9 found a bit of the sauce. Like, putting Speedo sack side, Speedo was very useful on the Ornn. Like, he made a couple really huge plays that won him that game 3. I like the playmakers for XU.
He popped off on Lee Sin too.
Yeah, no, his Lee Sin was, that's the second game he's gone legendary on Lee Sin too. I don't think you can give Lee Sin to C9. It really confused me why they kept on giving over Lee Sin. So I don't think we're going to see that again.
I will agree with you, Cubby, when you were talking about this is a ganking meta. I mean, for as long as I've known Lawrence, back when I first saw him in collegiate for the Packy that we hosted with University of Utah, because he was playing for UCal at the time, and I mean, he was the only good player on that team, and he was just 1v9ing, and he had Lee Sin every single game. And for some reason, they kept giving him Lee Sin. I don't know why. I knew Lee Sin wasn't good in the 2019 jungle meta and in spring, but he just kept playing it, and the other team just didn't believe that, like, yeah, we could beat his Lee Sin. No, you fucking can't. I mean, like, Lawrence will play Lee Sin whether it's good or not to his own detriment sometimes, especially in solo queue. But you goddamn know that he has.
But it's good now.
Master the champion.
It's good now.
To some degree. He still makes mistakes, but he's very comfortable on it, guys. So.
Yeah,
it was really good. And I mean, it was him and Speedo. Both of them popped off on it.
Speedo had a good series, man. I gave him some credit on Twitter. I was somewhat surprised that C9 Amateur kept that roster the same, but hey, like, props to Tails. They look like they have a little bit of a identifiable play style with just giving Captain Shrimp counter, letting him just play nuts and just going from there. I think that the gankers for XU fits into the wheelhouse. I think Breezy's following up nicely, as we know Breezy can do. He's relatively solid, and they have a solid bot lane, and they have somewhat of a game plan that they can get into the mid game with Wixie on even footing. They can beat teams. So yeah, And I was very surprised to see Zoos drop. I think that Zoos, for me, I had them as first or second. I personally had them as second behind Wildcard, as I had faith in Bradley. But for me, that was really surprising. And kind of a tough series from them. I think that they're going to still be a terrifying team to face in playoffs. And I think they're going to be a second seed. I would not want to draw them for quarters.
So
whoever
we already know what the matchup's going to be.
Yeah.
We know what it's going to be.
Okay.
If Zoos win their matchup tomorrow, and so does Cloud9, then Zoos will be playing against Golden Guardians Academy on Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah. That will be our quarterfinal match to watch. So one of those teams is not making it past quarters. If all of that lines up, which it probably will.
Wait. So quarters would be one of those teams is out?
Yes.
Whew. Okay. Interesting.
Yep. It's single elim bracket after that.
Best of fives.
And best of fives. So we do get to watch a best of five between those two teams, but one of them will only get one best of five.
Wow.
So that's going to be exciting.
I know which game I'm voting to stream.
Yes, that one will be the one to watch for sure. If all of that lines up, then that'll be the one. But yeah, we'll get to see all of that line up. All the games are going to be played tomorrow. Because that is a thing. The matchup involving Zoos will be the one that matters the most, alongside actually Golden Guardians versus 100 Thieves. Because if Golden Guardians loses that matchup, then it might get a little bit interesting. But yeah, it'll be pretty wild. And like APA is saying in the chat, the flip side of that is that Resolve will probably play against Cloud9 Amateur, which is another matchup that is really exciting based on the recent results.
Yeah.
Also, there's history behind that
matchup. I was about to
Very
say that,
true.
Rafa. You beat me to it, man. Tell us,
single
what is it?
elimination history between
if you go
those
back
two
to
teams.
Unified Grand Prix of Spring, where after playing a heartbreaker best of 5 in
They got boomed by
finals the night before, they
Speedo.
had to play a best of 3 single elimination, and they was it a 2-1 from
Yep.
yeah. So
They got Ted Cruzed. The internet went down in Texas. It was not good.
Oh man. All right.
I mean, well, they basically played 2 best of 5s back to back into a best of 3 for single elimination, and Cloud9 got the better of them. It was a rough schedule, and Barrage were completely out of Unified Grand Prix, where a lot of people before the tournament started had Barrage, including myself, as one of the top 4 tournament favorites. So I understand. I don't have chat pulled up, but if APA and any of the other Resolve boys, they're probably like, why are you bringing that shit up, Rafa? That's pain, PTSD. I'm sorry, boys, but we have to acknowledge history.
We gotta be accurate.
It never existed.
We gotta be accurate, guys. I will
say that matchup will be really cool. The winner of TSM versus Evil Genius's Prodigies qualifies for playoffs. That happens tomorrow. That is a very exciting matchup. And they will likely be playing against Wildcard Red, which is tough. And then the other matchup is either Supernova or AoE Randoms against the main AoE team. So those are our quarterfinal.
Okay,
matchups.
high key actually. TSM EGP versus Wildcard Red also kind of slaps. That's a big matchup too.
We got some good ones. It's gonna be a really fun Tuesday.
So we got to get through Monday first. So what are our thoughts going in? Let's start with Rafa here. What do you think about TSM versus EGP? Have you caught much tape on them, Rafa?
I know that TSM beat Revival after Revival beat AoE over in Upsurge Premier. However, they didn't
TSM drummed them.
Yeah, they drummed them. But to be fair, that Revival 3-0 against AoE didn't have the main roster. They had Trickster
no
in the
RBM.
jungle. Not trying to say like Trickster is like a worse version of RBM, but RBM is a very good player. So like, you don't have your roster at your full strength.
Trickster's
And
pretty good too.
like, I know the results say that Revival 3-0 to AoE. Congratulations to them, obviously, for Upsurge Finals. But some of those games were extremely, extremely close, where Sketch Streams was like one skill shot dodge away from being able to carry a team fight. And he already dodged like 4 or 5. Like, the Sketch is one of my top 80 carries that did not make my top 15 list because he's so new to me. So I want to see more of him before I start putting him in. But
He's exciting.
Sketch and Fizzy have been decent. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been playing good.
Think I don't think that Win has as much merit as it should have. So even though TSM 2-0'd Revival, I still think that EGP should be the favorites over TSM 2-1. So I
think
know that
there's a lot on the line for that match.
Yeah, and so the other reason
It
why
puts you in playoffs.
I put EGP as the favorites, I want to see if Doxa will have the mental fortitude of being able to compete in a best of 3 after just going through 3 grueling series. I mean, the Buffalo one wasn't as difficult, but the Harrisburg one was super long, plus the pause. This one against Maryville was also a grueling series as well. So I
11 games in the past 72 hours, right?
Yeah, it's constant playing of 72 hours, and it's not with the TSM squad. So there is a potential synergy disconnect that he might have going up to tomorrow's games. And so that's what I'm banking on. And I think EGP have now had a long weekend to practice more with this roster that they are still acclimating to with Skytech and Shoryu coming in. I'm giving EGP the favorite over TSM.
I feel the same. I am excited for Doxa and Gorica, as always. They make me a fan of that team in general. But it's just the rest of the roster has not been impressive to me quite yet.
I think EGP's magic in the spring split was their mid game, and without Miss, their mid game is pretty donkey. And I'm going to go with TSM just to go against you guys and just to get the Kelsey hate message when EGP wins. So yeah.
Ooh, it's not very Live Evil of you.
Other 2 series, Zoo's Wildcard Black, that's important. I think Zoo's is heavily favored. Any chance for an upset, Raafaa smacks.
Don't think so.
I gave Wildcard Black the ability to take 1 game, but I still think Zeus,
they do have side slots.
Especially after dropping the series to Cloud9, I don't think Zeus are in a mindset to let any more slip-ups. Usually what happens when we see top teams drop games to underdogs or not the favorites, they take a long, hard look and practice during the weekend and say, we are not going to fuck this shit up again, guys. Okay? Get our shit together. That's what happened to Golden Guardians after they lost the game to Cinnamon Bread. And they came in and they just shit on Dig Mig. They kind of shit on Resolve as well. I know I talked with him in Initiative, and they said that they were the better team. We didn't play the game that we wanted to play. So, Golden Guardians obviously came with a force after dropping a game to a piss random team. So I think Zeus is going to be in the same mindset. So they're not going to have any mercy for Wildcard Black. And so
we saw it last year or last split with Team Who Must Not Be Named in Risen also.
Sure. So with Wildcard Black, I think through their solo laners, there's going to be a game where Robbie or Quacker have a pop-off game. They will be able to net them 1, and then Zeus will adapt, and they won't let Quacker or Robbie have the same kind of game.
Okay. I have Zeus. I want to go quickly through AoE randoms versus Supernova, and I think we can probably wrap up the chat for this.
I think Supernova takes that.
Supernova's been playing good.
Yeah.
Messy but good.
I like Supernova in this tournament actually. I think they are somewhat of a dark horse team to go really far.
They had
I
some
think that they're doing pretty
illegal
well.
drafts against Wildcard Red.
That's true actually. But it's against
I
Wildcard
think they,
Red. I think they
yeah.
were poised to lose that one like most of the time anyway. But yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised by Cozy. The things that I've seen of Lynx, although limited, have been very good. Um, and I think that Strumpist and Maddie are still kicking just fine. So I'm pretty high on that team. I think that they are contender for top 8, contender for maybe further than that.
Okay, then we're unanimous on all but EGP, TSM. I think that the favorites win across the board for the 2-0 teams.
Mm-hmm.
What are the matchups if that happens, and then what are our predictions from there? So we have
I'll need to pull
AoE
it up.
versus Supernova. I think AoE stomps that.
Yeah.
I
3-0.
think that one is a little bit closer, but I think I'd still give the nod to AoE. But I do think that it might be okay for Supernova, that matchup, actually.
Okay, then we have C9 versus Resolve, which is a banger.
Yes. I take Resolve there, personally, but I think that one might be the closest one.
Resolve runs it one game. I give it to them 3-1.
All right.
Then we have Golden Guardians Academy on the same side as AoE. That's for me, that's actually a pretty exciting matchup because AoE's looked good.
I think the winner of that side of the bracket plays wildcard probably,
Dude,
and then
GGA versus Zeus in the quarters is a fucking crime.
mm-hmm.
A fucking crime.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I think I think GGA's looked really good at this tournament.
GGA
Wait, that is actually going to happen because of Cloud9, isn't it?
Yeah.
Holy
Yep,
moly.
it is.
That was a big win for C9. That was a big win for C9.
It was really big, yeah.
Cloud9 dodged the Golden Guardians bullet. Holy shit.
I think it's a bullet this tournament. Like, dude, how many games do GGA drop out from here if they keep on playing like they did this past week? 2, 3?
In some ways, we are getting a potential finals matchup early as quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It
is pretty wild. Well, this is of course contingent on the results for tomorrow, but it'll likely be that. Yeah.
And then D1 versus A2 would be Wildcard Red versus either EGP or TSM. I think Wildcard Red right now, I think the finals matchup I want to see with that bracket is I want to see Wildcard Red versus Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Wildcard Red is really good.
By the way, that would instantly qualify Wildcard for Proving Grounds.
It would.
Just throwing that out there because Golden Guardians results do not affect their points or standings or anything of that nature. So if Golden Guardians Academy does make it to the finals, a little bit anticlimactic as far as the results are concerned, but it is still nice.
Yeah, that quarterfinals matchup has some really hype.
Dude, Resolve C9
across almost every single lane. I would say mainly like the top half of the map is like super hype.
The only matchup that doesn't like interest me, if that pans out the way we think it is AoE versus Supernova. I think that's kind of a roll. I think the rest of them are actually, and I think the GGA game's a roll, but it's hype they're going up against Zeus. And I think Alorum, if anyone can stand up to Niles, it's Alorum. So
yeah,
I think it's hype because of that.
I think that top
it's gonna be so
of
fun.
The map is like gonna be the most exciting and potentially like even or volatile part. But I think GGA bot lane rolls Zoo bot lane, which is my concern where Zeus might falter. But
Prismal's too good, man.
Prismal is just insane, man. Yeah. We should go to LCS at some point.
For sure. All right. Well, I think that puts a nice cap on our semi-pro conversation. What do you guys think?
Fantastic. But
tune in tomorrow.
We're 59 minutes in, and we have Academy and LCS, which we weren't expecting to spend quite as much time on, but We have a treat
Yeah, we
for
don't games yet.
Academy.
Yes. But yeah, again, tune in to Cup tomorrow and the next day. But yes, let's get into Academy. First things first, Academy's beginning this week. Starts on Wednesday. The first Academy games will begin. There will be 5 best of 2s going on across 2 different channels. One of them will be the Academy channel, and one of them will be the Nerd Street channel. So definitely check those out. And Cubby, what do we have for the show today?
All right, guys. So we have a couple special. We wanted to mix things up a little bit for how we talk about Academy and LCS, just to keep things fresh for you guys, and also like with the plans of the show. In the future, we're still working on graphics. We're gonna have a live producer, Lauren. He's like gonna be on the mic and like pretty much make fun of us when we suck, and also push graphics to your eyes. So we're trying to invest quite a bit into this. For now, we don't really have that. As you can tell, we're on our old graphics package, and you're dealing with Producer Cubby. But Producer Cubby is going to get some help from Producer Smacks and Producer Raafaa with this next one, as we are going to do Academy rankings for what we expect going into the season, but we all got to decide our own way to do it. Some of us are more creative than others. And we're about to figure out who that is. Smacks, you're rubbing your hands together. You're really excited about yours. We're going to get a run back. Do you just want to lead us off here?
I would love to.
Okay.
So would you like me to just boot it up on my
boot it up
on my end
full
right
send
now?
It. Yeah, full send.
Okay. So for those of you who've been following me on Twitter for this year, this may remind you of something. But here we go. So I've got for all of you my PowerPoint presentation to display the Academy Summer 2021 Power Rankings. Is there a way to make this bigger, or are we just stuck with this, Cubby?
This is how we're doing it. Full send.
All right. The text might be a little bit difficult to read then, but you know what? It'll have to do. All right, here we go. Without further ado, let's get right into this. So here are my S tier teams to start things off. So my number one team, my S tier team is going to be Immortals Academy. And that is because they have the best players. And they may only have the 2 on the left there in Viper and Anda. However, they are the defending champions.
You just copy and
5
pasted.
Fire Value and Big are not here.
All right.
So IMTA are my number 1 team coming in, and they lead off the charge in S tier.
Okay. All right, well played.
The number 2 team in S tier is Cloud9 Academy. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. I'm gonna have to read this out because I think it might be a little too small. But you'll see at the top it says Sven got boomed by Pentanet. That is because he did. He is now back in Academy, and his punishment for getting boomed by Pentanet is being forced to play with an Oceanic jungler and support, so that he can learn from the best of that region. Because clearly they are better than him, and they need to teach him a thing or 2. We also have the second point here, which is that Cloud9 Academy has Mr. President, Darshan. So Sven will hopefully learn to protect the North American country better here, the North American region better, by playing with the president. And also, I have one last bullet point that says, "Please don't clap everyone too hard, Sven." So there we have
true.
it.
All right, that was good. Well played. Yeah.
Yep. So that's my second team. We now get into the A tier teams, and for this, I'm starting off with Team Liquid Academy. You can see the Liquid horse right there, owned by Elsa. Team Liquid will totally not go 0-4 in PG playoffs again, guys. I swear it'll all be okay. They will bounce back. It'll be fine. I promise. Nothing bad will happen to Team Liquid this season, this split. We also have Golden Guardians Academy. They are going from gold to challenger in one season because they placed 9th in the first regular season.
True.
And now I think they're going to be in top 4. Also, I have what I think is a General Sniper picture, like a thumbnail. I'm pretty sure that's General Sniper. But I don't know. I just found it off of Google. Also Puismal. And here we have the fifth team in also still in the A tier, 100 Thieves. Hashtag Poom Gang. I have Alk Battery's meme up there in the top right to help me describe this. We got Tenacity,
Let's
we got Poom,
go!
and we got Papa Smithy up there too. So yeah, that rounds out my top half and also the A tier. Let's get into the B tier teams. For this, I'm beginning with Evil Geniuses Academy. You'll notice I've got their new top prospect 80 carry Team Luke. His,
Got it.
his,
He's dropping
his
bombs.
face.
Yeah.
Yep, he's dropping bombs. This is his Twitch profile picture. There he is.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Is his face like split up like that? Or
No,
is that
so it's
you?
just the one on the left. I copy pasted it and flipped the image and put another one there so that it's his entire face.
It is
Uh,
symmetrical.
I know.
He looks like he's
but
about
yeah.
to pog out on Simzaya.
He is about to pog out, and he's about to pog out on Evil Geniuses too. It's gonna
Yeah.
be great. We've also got FlyQuest Academy. I've got them at 7th. You can see the logo change there for people's confusion. Also, I think the overlay is covering up the text down there. I put Tomo a bunch of times and also a little NXI in the middle with a smiley face. Because I think those two guys are really good, and they will carry this team. And we also have Dignitas. I don't have anything for Dignitas. They're not really that interesting to me. And we have C tier. This is the bottom. We've got TSM Academy. I've got them as 9th. We have Cubby's face a bunch of times.
The flex sandwich.
The Flex Sandwich. And finally, in 10th, Counterlogic Gaming. I am sorry to Osama, and I am sorry to Keel, but it had to be done.
Okay.
And that's the end.
Okay, Rafa, you ready or you want me to go?
You should go.
I can't follow that up, so I appreciate you throwing me under the bus. All right, here's mine. I made a basic tier list. So first off, my no org tier, as that is the supremacy tier. For me,
Nice.
that is actually C9, as I think with Sven, C9 is still the best team. 80 carry is the easiest role to plug and play. Sven comes in as it's Sven. I don't know exactly why the change happened. The team knows more than we do. We don't have sources. We don't have any speculation. We don't want to speculate. Sven is insane. And the fact that he's playing in Academy, I think that he makes his team top tier. I'm high on IMT. I think that IMT, with these changes, that top side was a little bit weak for them. I thought Joey and Pretty were kind of my standouts. And I think that Anda and Viper really shore that up. I think Viper is probably the best top laner that we have in Academy now, and that is just a huge upgrade for IMT. For me, that puts IMT second. 100 Thieves third. I think them and EG are still mechanical freaks of teams, and I think that with the fact that both those orgs have shown the commitment to development that they do, giving them another split with 36 games, I'm putting some more faith in their staff that team ends up looking really, really good by the end of the year. Also, I ordered these like in order of the tiers. I'm just going to skip to the bottom. Dig and CLG to me aren't that interesting for Academy teams. Dig's only really trying to develop one piece. CLG, I think they're going to have their full roster for a full split. That's great. We'll see what they can do. But for me, they're probably the two weakest teams by a long shot. The only reason that TSM isn't in that tier is that I think the takeover is starting mid-laner by week 3. So that's why they move up.
That's true.
And I think I'm really sleeping on FlyQuest. I don't really know where to put, like, from IMT to FlyQuest, if those teams completely flip-flopped, I would not be surprised. Let's just put it that way. I think that, like, that's like the fucking, like, pool for me. Like, those 6 teams, that's like, what do they call it? Like, the mud, the mosh pit, like,
The
I don't
soup.
really know. The soup.
I've heard it
That's
called the soup.
Yeah. Those 6 teams for me, those are the soup. I tried to split them up a little bit. If it's flip-flops, I wouldn't be surprised. I think that every team, there are players I'm excited about, and I think that they're also, yeah. I think I really don't know where to rank them, so we'll see. But a part of why I ranked it the way I did is I think that there are few top laners that can stand up to Viper. I think that Tenacity, Niles, and Jenkins can. I don't think Kumo can. I think that's why I had FlyQuest way down. E.g., I just have faith in the Jojo Yun supremacy. Jojo Pyun's the best mid laner in Academy, and that when that kid turns 17, he's going to LCS. And if he doesn't, I'm shocked.
True.
So he doesn't turn 17 for the rest of the year. And that's why EGA ends up in that tier for me. So yeah, that's my slightly worse production and tier list. But quicker, as we have time now for Raafaa.
Okay, before we go to Raafaa, I need you guys to see something.
What's up?
Because this is very, very important. Let's switch back over to this. So first of all, this is my Twitter page, my notifications.
Okay.
You'll notice that a very cool person just followed me. That's not what I'm here to look at right now, though. What I'm here to look at is what Cubby possibly did to be trending on Twitter.
Let's go.
Do you see this?
Dude, Raising at Ace popping off, or maybe my
Cubby-
tier list just sucked that
Cubby
much.
is trending. Look at this.
Wow, that's actually amazing. All right, guys, don't fuel the ego. It's not good, not healthy. Anyway, moving on. Sir Raafaa.
All right. Well, I looked at these academy teams, and I remember a very distinct Proving Grounds tournament that proceeded after the academy teams played out. And you have to also recall that certain academy teams who ended up being 10th in the academy spring split happened to be one of the best performing academy teams by the end of the Proving Grounds tournament. Whereas the second highest team not only didn't do so well in Northern Arena, but also they bombed out pretty early Proving Grounds. So, even if I were to look at this logically, as I already stated before, I'm not the smartest person on this desk of dads right here.
He's
So I
lying.
don't think there's
He
really
is the
any
smartest.
value in me trying to
He's in the lead for cup
quantitatively
predictions.
assess these teams. So, like many orgs seem to do it, we're just going to leave it to chance. So
Ooh.
I have a picker wheel. And so what's going to happen is we're going to let fate determine
Oh man.
the top 10 teams. Whoever, and we're going to go by number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Obviously, the team that is destined to be the best in Academy Split will be chosen by this picker wheel because
Of course.
God or fate or some divine force has decided that, you know
I love
what,
it.
they are just better players. They deserve to win. So we are going to find out who wins Academy Playoffs right
Is
here.
this how you do your
right
cup
now.
predictions too?
Is this your
Are
12
we
out of
getting beat by a
16?
wheel?
Yeah. This is how we get host gapped every time, Smacks.
By the way, if I am correct, I will not take credit for being right. I will just give credit to the picker wheel. If I'm wrong, I will take credit. Or, because I am just that humble and modest.
Oh god.
So let's find out who wins
course,
Summer
yes.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
All right, here we go.
Let's
Let's
find
go.
out, ladies and gentlemen.
Taking bets on who the first place team is by the wheel.
Team Liquid Academy!
Oh,
Wilbur
okay.
is number
Okay, that's
one!
not bad. That's
Wow.
not bad.
TL. Did you remove? Oh yeah, you did remove them from the wheel. All right, nice. Perfect.
All right, number 2.
Looking pretty good so far. Not too crazy.
Golden Guardians Academy number 2!
Okay.
All right.
GGA
all
had a
right.
massive split.
You've got 2 of the teams that I have in my top 4, so I'm feeling pretty good. I think the wheel is onto something.
Easy clap. Niles. Oh man.
FlyQuest Academy is number 3!
Okay, FlyQuest.
Okay. A little more shaky on this one, I'd say. But you know what? The wheel knows
That's
all.
what you think.
Yeah, it is. I'm clearly gonna be wrong.
With their new Sunny Quest, they're about to showcase greatness all over you punk asses.
Nice.
Immortals Academy number
Dude, the
4.
wheel is
IMT.
kind of doing all right so far.
It actually
It's
is.
4 teams that I have in the soup. Now, C9's not there, which that concerns me.
Yeah. If you replaced C9 with FlyQuest here, it would be my exact top 4. So that's pretty sick.
Digger
Is that Dig?
Academy for
We
number
got
9.
Dig.
Digger going off. Digger going off. Okay.
This is actually how stocks work for all of you people who are unfamiliar.
Not
in
stocks,
the
just
chat.
crypto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aren't they the same?
No.
Boom, 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 dun, 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 dun.
Oh, it's on the line.
C9 Academy.
It's Cloud9.
They make
Number
playoffs.
6.
Nice.
They make Proving Grounds the easy way.
All right, we got 4 left. Let's see it.
I ran out of game show music, by the way. I'm sorry. I only had 2 up my sleeve prep for this. We didn't know what
Yeah,
I knew that
we had
Snacks
no
was doing
idea.
a PowerPoint. I didn't know what everyone else was doing.
CLG Academy number 7.
CLG.
Let's go.
What does he change it to after taking 6th?
All right, we got 2 more spins left. It looks like EG and 100 Thieves are down bad, according to the wheel to split.
And TSM.
Yeah, but that's not according to the wheel, at least for us.
Jesus. Oh, God.
Bridges
what we
here.
have.
No.
Is that EG?
Oh my god.
Your camera froze, but you...
EG.
Oh, we're back? Okay.
All right, we're back. We're back. Evil geniuses.
Oh, it's a 50-50. Dude,
All right.
It's funny. It's funny because, like, they're actually... These are the 2 teams that I'm going to think are, like, fighting for Worlds. And we get to spin the wheel right
Ooh.
here.
An LCS, yeah.
Yeah, I think these are the 2 teams who are going to fight for the 3rd spot.
All right, we're spinning the wheel.
I wouldn't have put 100 Thieves this low, but oh
I'd throw
my,
EG in there,
I'm
too.
not gonna lie, TSM was my number 10.
All right. So the wheel got
Wait,
one
wait,
of
you gotta
Rafa's
roll.
picks right.
You gotta
by
spin it again.
default.
You gotta spin it again to see if TSM are actually the 10th.
Okay. As we spin the wheel.
Let's see, guys. I wonder.
Spin the wheel.
It's like when you walk in the.
Oh
into the,
my God! It's TSM.
It's like when you like walk into the casino and they give you a free $10 like on the card. You have to get there, before they siphon all your money off of it.
All right,
All right,
well,
that was fun. That was fun.
Bump it up a little bit. All right, now everyone can take your screenshots on what the wheel thinks. And we'll see if the wheel is more right than Cubby and I, which would be hilarious.
That would be pretty funny. Yeah. Anyway, I'm all about the soup. And that is our Academy preview. We're really excited to watch Academy Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be streamed at, I'm not sure exactly what time yet.
Academy and Nerd Street LOL.
Yes, 2 channels, twitch.tv/academy and twitch.tv/nerdstreetlol. And if you tune in, I'll see you both days. So I'm excited to get Academy going, as everyone else is. And now we get to move into LCS.
All right. We got one more topic here for you all today, as we're we got this one as the last one. We're ascending the ranks as it goes. And with this, I have come prepared with a few over-under things, predictions for each and every one of the teams. Before we get into this, I do want to say there is still a chance that more roster moves happen. It's unlikely, I'd say, we're less than a week out.
I have 2. I have 2.
You have 2 roster changes.
Yeah, that might happen still.
Tell us.
No, I can't. They're not confirmed yet. But there are 2 orgs that are still playing around with two different roles for 2 different teams. It's between the Academy and the LCS teams. And one of the teams was playing around with this role last year, and those 2 players, and another wasn't and might surprise some people. But I'm still, it's not confirmed. So I'm working on it.
Well, we will have to find out. Oh yeah, Core JJ to jungle. True. That's actually a good call. That's probably what it'll
Did
be.
he look in the mirror 3 times?
Yep.
And
Say
just like
Pentanet.
whisper like turn the lights off, and then whispered like roll swap, roll swap, roll swap, and then he got transferred to LEC as a jungler.
Yep. That's how it is. That's how
Shit,
it
dude.
goes.
R.I.P. Core,
But yeah,
R.I.P. INA.
we do know of one roster swap that happened since our last episode that we'll go over at the end. But actually, no, we're gonna go over it right now because it is involved with my first over under for you guys. So I've got 10. I've got one for each team. We're gonna go into these. We'll keep them pretty quick, but let's get into the first one for Cloud9. Over under 5.5 players will play on the main roster in regular season. So will it be over 5.5 or under 5.5?
I'm going to go with an over. I think that C9 has a history of doing this. Keep in mind they benched Jensen and Sneaky at one
And
point.
Sneaky, yeah.
They've benched Meteos at one point. I think that C9, they're pushed to excellence. Sometimes they make changes. Once again, I have no idea. I'm not going to speculate on this one. I don't have any sources at C9. But I do know that they're doing this for a reason. They're doing this because they think it's best for their team. And that said, I have faith that King's going to be good. But if they're going to make one change, I think that they're going to maybe make a few others as the season goes on. And keep in mind, when you're C9, you are the best team in NA. You also had the best academy team last year. You have the power to do this. You have a lot of talented people on that 10-man roster. And if anyone's going to come up, I think King was a great addition. But I know the King and Isles lane slapped. I think Sven is easily plug and play again. Maybe Sven just wanted to, take a break. He hasn't taken a break in a long-ass time since G2 went to MSI all those years back, and he wasn't on the team for that even. So, yeah. I don't know. But if I had to bet over-under, I'd bet over.
I bet over too.
Yeah.
I'm aligned with you on that one. I think that they will probably sub in either Isles or just Zen right back. Those are the two most likely in my eyes. What do you think, Mark?
I think Sven comes back in after. I know that I'm basically not submitting a tier list for Academy. The picker wheel's the one, but I suspect that Sven is going to take this to heart, and whoever has to play against him in Academy is going to suffer his wrath. And he's going to say, "I don't know why you benched me, but it is bullshit. I will earn my spot back to LCS."
All right.
And
Let's get into. Oh, good.
Well, do we want to talk about like Sven King now or no?
Yeah, so let's do it.
Okay.
We're not gonna get into super deep on all of the teams, because this is the only change so far. But yeah, so King was definitely the best performing AD carry in the Academy regular season, and it was debatable that he was the best performing AD carry in Proving Grounds playoffs as well. I think you could argue that Prismal is up there too.
For me,
but
him and Luger and Prismal are the three best ADs.
And Luger as well.
And King,
Luger's nuts.
King for me is a little bit better than the rest. I thought King Isles as a lane were the best bot lane. And keep in mind that he played the spring split of last year, and he was hands down the best player in Academy before he had visa issues and couldn't return for the summer, right? That's why C9 had to get Tomo. I think that if you're a C9 fan, this is a change where you have the right to scratch your head. Sven's history, he's a world semifinalist. This guy has won multiple championships in multiple regions. He's insane at the game. But you're getting one of the best players that were in Academy. And King brings a lot to the table. I'm really high on his Tristan and his Ezreal play. I think that he's going to be just fine in LCS. I think he's ready to play that level. I'm curious to see if he's as good as Sven was. And that's really all I have to say about that. Team knows what they're doing, and you got to trust the team sometimes. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
Next one.
I'm trying to interest Patrick Listen not being on my desk currently. But
Or show him on camera.
He's like right here, so it wouldn't work very well. But anyway, getting into the second team that we've got, unless you've got more stuff to say about Cloud9, Mark.
No.
All right. Well, let's get into the second team then. We've got Team Liquid. So over under for Team Liquid, they get 18.5 wins in the regular season. Now, reminder, there are 27 total games for each team, and Team Liquid in the spring had a 67% win rate. 19 wins would put them at 70% win rate, so slightly better.
I think it's over because they were one game away from representing NA and MSI. I mean, as a Cloud9 fan, or, the Cloud9 being the org that I've stood behind the longest since before they were even Cloud9, when they were coming in as Quantum Gaming or Quantic Gaming. That best of 5 could have easily gone Team Liquid's way. So, and Team Liquid were still an incredibly dominant team throughout the spring split. I think Team Liquid is also an org with a coaching staff and an infrastructure that is super incredible and talented. And they take that spring finals loss to heart, and they don't want it to happen again. So I think this team, who you have to remember, was also fielding Armeo, not Santorin, Armeo, and not putting anything against Armeo because he stepped up for the TSM
He had a
series.
baller series.
He had a Baller 2 series as well, and
Yeah.
it literally was really neck and neck. Imagine if Santorin was the one that was actually playing the jungler that was starting. Like I said, we're not taking anything away from Armeo. The fact that he was able to step up and put the team that close, you're left to wonder what happens when Santorin is actually the one that gets to play in both series.
I made the claim that I thought that TL was a better team to send internationally than C9 when I was on Forest's stream, degenerately gambling on the MSI games, back when I was allowed to. I think that TL losing in the best 5, they win if they have Santorin. I think that Elfari is an international top laner that can fight with the best of them. I think Jensen and Core JJ have proven time and time again that they are at that level, and I would have loved to see Santorin and Tactical get another shot at that. I'm over. I think that TL have a good split, and especially if C9 are going to make this swap, 100 Thieves are making a swap, EG are running back the same roster.
No, they're not. They have Danny.
Oh, right. EG are making a swap. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have faith that TL win over 70% of the games.
Phantom. He's Phantom. Danny
All right.
Phantom.
I am actually going to go under for this one. I think that it's not for a negative reason either. I think that the league for LCS in summer is going to be very top heavy. And I think when that happens, you usually get splits where the teams are like all tied at like 12-6 or something. And I think that's going to be a very similar thing to what happens here. I think that the teams that are going to be really competitive are Cloud9, Team Liquid, TSM, 100 Thieves, and Evil Geniuses. I think all of those teams are going to be competing for like a lot of wins in the regular season, and for that reason, I'm gonna go with under for Team Liquid. I don't think they're gonna make the 19 or above wins in regular season. I think that it's pretty likely that they hit 18 though, or a little bit around there. But I'm betting under.
Okay. Next,
all right.
TSM.
So next one, TSM. All right. So for TSM, do we think that there will be over or under 250.5 salt threads on the TSM subreddit?
I think we're already at that.
Comments
I'm
that
going
other
over.
people comment on count as a thread.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm going over for the memes, and also I'm going over because life's too short to bet the under. So, yeah, over. But
Same here.
All right.
I think
Over.
TSM fans, they have a history of being salty. I think that the race for the third team to go to the Worlds this year is going to be fucking close. And that means a lot of salt threads for TSM. So, yeah.
Yep. For
You
sure.
have TSM, 100 Thieves, and potentially
EG.
Sure.
Can Peter
Yeah.
Dunn take, what is it, an 8th roster to Worlds?
I thought they were
We'll
6.
see.
Were they 6?
EG. They got a long way to go, but we'll see.
Yeah, EG placed 6th in regular season.
Yeah.
All right. 100 Thieves. All right. Abadage performs 5.5 best in the LCS mid pool. So basically, is he top half or bottom half?
Okay, so this is objective, right? We're going to be objective about this. Like, we're not going to have a stat to track it.
We are. I haven't picked what stat that's going to be yet, but
Okay.
but we will do that.
I'm
Yes.
going to go over. I thought he was a middle of the pool mid laner in Europe, and I think LEC pound for pound is a much more competitive league than LCS. The bottom teams there are really good. I think he's going to be just fine. And also, a lot of people are forgetting, him and Closer used to be teammates together in the TCL. And so this is a little bit of a reunion for them as well. So, yeah. We lost Raafaa.
Oh, no.
Raafaa? Did we?
I don't know what happened.
All right, we'll figure that out. Anyway,
I've been moved.
Smacks is Raafaa, Raafaa is Smacks. Congrats, we did a roll swap here. I mean, I mentioned LEC and we instantly roll swapped. I guess it's just kind of the curse that we have going on.
Whoops.
Yeah, I think Abadage is going to be just fine. I mean, think about it. Perks, Jensen, PoE, Abby, Jizuke, like that's 5. I think Abadage is going to be just fine. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go under because I think Soligo goes in there instead of him.
I think he's good, but I still think Abi's better than Jizuke and maybe PoE. I'm actually really curious to see him versus PoE because I think
That's
that's
gonna be fun.
I think TSM 100 Thieves realistically for me. I'm throwing EG in the conversation because I have faith in Danny and Peter and EG, but I think Abby versus PoE, like that matchup's critical for determining who the third team is going to go to the Worlds. Like,
Yeah.
100 Thieves has to win that matchup, and that should
sure.
be really interesting.
It's gonna be really cool. I think that's gonna be the one to watch. Like right away.
Conditional over under.
Okay.
If the rosters stay the same and no one swaps out mids, I think Abadage performs over and will be within the top 5. However, if evil geniuses swap out Jizuke for Jojo Pion, I think Abadage
They can't.
goes under.
JoJo's
They
still
can't.
16.
Damn it.
He is
Well-
16 until December, I think, of this year. He will be 17 for
then
next year.
I guess we're just over then.
All
Yeah.
right. Then Rava's over. That's okay. I think you're right. It's just he can't by the rules. So sadness.
I
All
am
right.
not sure if JoJo's on that level yet, but the kid is. They call him JoJo Faker for a reason, man. He is insane.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So the next team we got Dignitas. So for Dignitas, I have 15.5 unique jungle champions for Dardoch. And as a reminder, in the previous split, he had 12 unique champions in regular season and playoffs combined. And that was 21 games. This is now going to be 27 in regular season and then also playoffs after that.
Okay, so are we starting from scratch, or do we? Does he
Yes,
get
we're
to-
starting from scratch.
Okay, so it's weird
Like,
because
just within the summer realm.
yeah, it's weird because it's so essential to like how Dignitas plays is Dardoch feeling comfortable in that matchup.
Mhm.
And I know there's more games, but the like unique champion thing from like last split was actually crazy. And I'm
It
kind of
was.
banking on the fact that I don't think Dig go as far with the new playoff system because I'm not sure if there's double limb. I think it's 8-team standard bracket.
Yeah, we don't know quite yet.
Yeah, we don't know quite yet. But based on that, I'm going to actually go under, as 15.5 is a preposterous amount of unique champions for jungle. A
Is a
role
lot.
that's very usually like core 3-5 champion pool any given patch, right? So I'm gonna go under based on that.
Resident Jungler, thoughts?
Considering the current jungle meta right now and how warped it potentially could be already, since catch-up XP has been reintroduced. Ah.
Catch-up XP is the life.
Yeah.
I actually
So,
think
like,
it's kind
the
of
thing
cursed,
is
but...
that on the one hand, you still have junglers like, at least in competitive play, Rumble, Morgana, and Udyr are still dominating despite catch-up XP having been introduced back into the system. I know this most recent patch just nerfed Rumble's jungle clear speed and Morgana's jungle clear speed. I don't know if that really affects people's priorities, because we've seen time and time again where Hecarim and Udyr were nerfed going into MSI, and pro teams were still picking Hecarim for no fucking reason whatsoever, other than, well, it's a comfort pick and they haven't had time to practice.
Oh, it's so dumb.
That one hurt
and
a bit.
it's like, well, if that's the thing, like, and I know, I know that teams and coaches have told me, like, literally there's not enough time to practice anything else and to scrim a lot of things, because we always have to play a patch behind before the current one to get ready for scrims and for the debut of pros. So, like, it makes sense in a way. I still think it's dumb, but obviously, like, I'm not a pro player, and I don't have to deal with the stress of trying to play on 2 different patches at once when you go to solo queue on the most live one, whereas you have to go to scrims on the last one, right? So, and with catch-up XP being introduced, I think that skews the jungle pool eventually back towards heavy gankers. I don't know if Riot will change the jungle again. I know they have a proponent to, and we've seen that. So, I'm gonna go over for the memes because
I'm going over too, by the way.
I think what happens is that with the jungle meta changing and being warped again by Riot, I think Dardoch tries to take advantage and plays things that people don't expect. And I mean, that's why Dignitas were able to do so well. He pulls out Kha'Zix and Kayn before other junglers even thought about doing the Manamune Shadow Kayn, right?
It was dope.
He was on the trend fast from LCK, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it was sick.
Like, or yeah, first in LCS, but picking it up from other regions. So I don't put it past Dardoch to just pull out different junglers every single game, because I think the element of surprise really does put a lot of people or teams on the back foot when they haven't practiced playing against. I mean, like, if for some reason Kiana jungle is viable and then he just pulls it out, and it's like, okay, well, how do we play against Kiana jungle again? Or how do we play around level 6 timers? Or how do we play around level 5 timers when Kiana ganks are Kiana 1v1 skirmishes are super potent because she has 3 points in Q, etc., etc. So, like, all these little things, people, I think Dardoch, you call it cheese, but it just, like you said, Cubby, whenever he is super comfortable and he has the upper advantage, Dignitas look insanely strong.
It's important for how they play. So, yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm going over on this as well. I think the jungle meta's
I
think the jungle meta's in a little too much turmoil right now, and I think Dardoch's the perfect player to capitalize on.
Yeah. Okay, that's reasonable. All right. Yeah. I don't know. It was good talk. I like that one, Spence. Yeah. That was a good one. What do we got next?
All right. Next is Evil Geniuses. Does Danny get over or under 1.5 Samira games?
Yes.
I'll start this one off. I think it's under, because I think he's going to get 1 Samira game, and I think it's going to be banned every other game.
I think it's like too much of a pocket pick, and I think he's going to eat Samira bans, but I think that we're going to see more than 1 game of it. It's the guys, his Kai'Sa and his Samira I don't know how this gets 17. Like the way that he plays those two
Yeah.
champions, it's on another level. And I'm really looking forward to seeing those both hit LCS and seeing how it stacks up to the best that NA has to offer.
He's so good.
I think we see more. Like, I think that we've seen integrations of rookies do really well in good teams where they kind of play towards the strengths of the rookie. This is one of his strongest picks. So let's see EG play towards those strengths, build some comps around it like they were able to do on EGP, which were phenomenal to watch, by the way. It was so fun casting those games and seeing how good he was on that Samira. I want to see it more than once in LCS. There's more games to split. I got the over.
I don't think they gave it to him any more than one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You also have to consider that if Danny slots well into this LCS squad, he's not going to be the only threat that you worry about. I mean, like, we know that definitely didn't do that great. That's why he's not returning.
Definitely was
on an
pretty
LCS
solid,
team,
but yeah.
or an
Yeah,
academy
for
team. And like Impact was eating bans. I think Ignore was eating bans. I could be wrong, but there's
a lot of Renekton bans. It was insane.
Yeah.
So like there are other players. Like I know we are super excited coming from like the NA dad standpoint. It's like, oh yeah, our boy.
Let's go,
He's
Daddy!
promoting. He's going to the big boy. He's gonna play with the big boys on the big stage.
That's my boy!
But it's not like he's going to a team of like bottom tier piss randoms in LCS. It's not like it's a 10th place team. He's going to no that okay. Hang on. Before I clarify, I'm not trying to put shade on Golden Guardians because I love them, and I still stand by that. I think it is completely fine to even if fans don't like it and if the management doesn't like it, I think it's completely fine to give your players experience, even if it means for them to get their shit kicked in by better players. I think it humbles them and I think it improves them and for the long haul, and it just requires a longer investment. Obviously, business plans don't agree with that and they require results sooner than later, but you know, fucking sucks. Anyway,
It'd be what it do.
It is what it is. Anyway, Evil Geniuses have amazing players on that roster already, so it's not like Danny's going to be the focus of those bans. So, and even if he is, I don't think it's always going to be Samira. I think there's going to be top tier 80 carries that will eat the ban first before the Samira also gets eaten on the ban.
Mark's going over. I'm isolated again. Understandable. There are 27 games in regular season, so
Yeah.
you know I have faith in Danny's Samira that it's going to be banned every time. So
Sure,
I'm sticking
that's
by
gonna be fine.
my under.
That'd be cool if you're right.
All right, Rafa,
All right.
what are you going there? Sorry, I'm trying to record all these.
Over.
Yeah, he's
Let's
going
go.
over.
Hop in. All right.
All right.
Next.
Team, we got Immortals. Okay, this is a fun one. This is my favorite one. 10.5 games played without subbing in an academy player. I am going under. I think they're going to be subbed in before week 6.
Are you looking at Viper Anda, I assume?
Yes. Either one of them.
Revenge and Xerxes.
Yeah. I've kept it open in case they decide to do some other things. I also, for what it's worth, think that with Pretty being an NA resident, wouldn't be too unreasonable to put Pretty in over Insanity. But I am encompassing all of the Immortals Academy roster and Immortals LCS roster.
So you were pitching this
I'm going
question. You're pitching this because you feel like the Academy roster is very strong and the LCS roster is not as strong.
I think they're close in strength, and I think that Viper and Anda and Pretty are going to smurf it in Academy, and I think that their performance is going to be worthy of thoughts of promotion. So that's why the question is here, and I think it's going to be pretty soon.
I'm gonna go over. That team, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of I think Viper's good, but I think that Revenge played actually his best split so far in LCS.
Sure.
Like from all the stuff I saw from when I came in Academy and then his LCS split. And that's the most likely one to me. I don't think the rest changes at all. And also I think that if you're gonna do that, you have to like put in duos or stuff like that. Like sometimes that's better. So I'm gonna go with over. I don't think we see subs from them.
All right, Mark, what do you think? Have we lost Rafi Wafi again?
No, I'm
thinking,
just
man.
thinking.
Oh, all right. Sorry. I wasn't looking at the cameras.
I think Cubby brings up a good point that there's no way that Viper just slots in over Revenge without wanting to bring in Anda as well. And I know, Smacks, you are not high on Xerxes, and I think,
No.
if I'm quoting you correctly, you think he's the worst jungler in LCS. Is that correct?
I'd have to think about it more.
I just know you don't like him compared to. Well, you don't think he's
It's not
that
that I
good
don't like
compared
him.
to the others.
He hasn't met the guy.
Yeah, I've never met him.
Nothing personal.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think he's as good as the others.
I think it's mostly that I think Anda is really good. That's mostly what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. I don't think I'm on as down on Xerxes as you are. I would if Viper continues his momentum that from all the confidence he got in Proving Grounds and he's able to carry it into Academy, I think there's a reasonable world where Immortals are not going to do that well in the spring split, and they're going to say, well, we need to change up something, and so they think about bringing in Viper, but you have to bring in Anda, and I don't think that Xerxes is the problem on that roster. There's a lot of other problems with
Worlds is kind of a mess, yeah.
Immortals overall. The players they have picked are kind of weird across the board. Like, cause I
think their
I'm
academy team is dynamite. The LCS team,
their academy team is very good.
I don't have any
but
hopes for the LCS team.
I'm almost rather sub in the entire academy team over
That's
the LCS
what they've
team,
done before.
which is what they've done before. So
yeah,
It
could be
a
interesting.
5-man swap.
This is the org that has done it before, Cubby.
That's crazy. If it is true, Smacks, I respect that. And I will do something for you. It's going for this bet. If Raafaa joins, I'll think about it. But
I think it would be sick.
I'll sing a sad song for Immortals LCS. That's Smacks predicted
All right.
All right. Are you going over or under, Mark?
That's kind of toxic. I wouldn't do that.
I think it is. This is just a single academy player, right?
Any single academy player.
Any number of subs.
10.5 games, so that's the back half of the split. So do they make a change in the first round robin? Is pretty much what Smacks is asking.
It's basically the middle. It's the second round robin is when it's about there. Is when it happens.
I think Immortals will want to play out their starting roster, the first round robin, before making any changes. That'll also give time for the Immortals Academy roster to shape things up and to see how Viper and Anda adjust to Academy, because like they as a duo are super strong, but they have to synergize with Pretty and Keith and Joey, make sure they're all on the same page as well. And I don't know how that's going to go down. Cool thing is that Anda is returning to a former org where back in 2017 he was the sub for Immortals when they went to Worlds in Europe, and then when they went to boot camp. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this like in Proving Ground several times, but Anda was the first NA player to hit Challenger using Ezreal and Nidalee Jungle in Korea. So
there it is.
Big dubs. So that's kind of cool that he's returning to an old org. But I think Immortals will want to play both Academy and LCS completely separate the first round robin, because Academy also have like 4 times the amount of games as well. So
are you going over then?
Yeah, over.
All right. I'm isolated again. Oh well.
I think it's more funny if you're right, because then me and Cubby have to now do something.
No, I think I am going to be right. That's why I predicted that. It's going to be great. All right,
Okay.
let's go to one where I think we will all agree. FlyQuest. Do we think that they will go over or under $3,000 for their donations for Sunny Quest?
I like.
I'm
this
going
one.
over.
You know what?
Um,
I have no idea how the math works out on this. But I'm going over because I
Going
like
over.
FlyQuest.
They're doing it.
I am also going over.
Woo!
I don't know necessarily if they're going to perform insanely well, but I think they're gonna find a way to still donate money because Trisha is that much of a sweetheart and
Yeah.
FlyQuest is that baller of an org. So they'll find
Let's
a way
go,
to donate
FlyQuest!
8,000.
Sweet logo, by the way. I really like the green. It's great.
Well, now
All
it's
right.
gold.
That was a fun one. I think that FlyQuest will have a better season pending one move that's in the works.
Oh my God, Cubby. All right. Well, we'll see what that is eventually, I suppose.
Leaks,
FlyQuest,
leaks,
hooray.
leaks.
Counter Logic Gaming is the next team. My over-under is 9.5 placement in the regular season. So over for this would be 9th or above, and under for this would just be 10th. And
okay, so this is total.
yes.
So where do they sit now, and how many wins?
They currently are 9th, and I think they are. I think they're 2 wins ahead of Golden Guardians.
So 5 wins, because Golden Guardians are 3 and 15.
5. Yes. I am going to go with under. I think they place 10th.
I'm going over. They have their entire roster for the entire year, and I don't see them. I don't really see the direction.
That much is true.
I don't see the direction of that roster, and I don't think they can compete in playoffs. But they're not the 10th place team. And Golden Guardians has to make up 2 wins, which I think that they might cover some ground, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think Golden Guardians has a good chance. But yeah, I do think CLG is 10th.
They have a good chance to not be the worst team and instead maybe be a bottom 3 team.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think there's a world that you can argue where now that they have their full roster here and no more visa issues, and because you have incredible Gigabrain Prussian joining as an analyst,
Woo, Prussian!
You will now no longer be a 9th or a 10th place team. I think
COG level 1 stonks go up.
I think peak, just based on base value, I think CLG could place as high as 5th. I don't think they will, but it'll probably be 7th. But I think they can. But they could go as high as 5th.
Okay.
5th is very high. But you know what? I respect that take.
I mean, if you look at that roster and who's on it,
meta shifting into what Brox is traditionally good at.
All right.
You have really good players.
So. Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm very low on CLG. I think they're going to place 10th.
Sure.
Okay, Raafaa and I are over.
Yep. All right. We got one last team here, Golden Guardians, and for this one, I've got 8.5 total regular season wins. They got 3 in spring. However, there is another round robin here. So it was 2 round robins before. It is now 3 round robins. I personally am going to go over with this one. I think that Golden Guardians are going to be able to pull out more than 8.5 wins. I think that's about the cutoff where
it's a decent guess.
It would still get them into playoffs, probably, but wouldn't be too outrageous for them to get. It would also, it might let them win against all. I don't know. I think they get at least 9 wins. So I'm going over.
They're playing 27 games.
Yes.
They need to win 6.
Is that true?
To get the over. They need to win 6 of them to get the over.
Yes, they would need to win 6
out of the 27. I'm going on.
Yes.
I think they finished the season with 8 wins.
Oh no!
If for Golden Guardians, these were not the changes I would have made. I would have kept Niles in, and I would have swapped out Potlines completely. But that's just me.
Yeah. Uh, I agree with you, but I do still think that the Golden Guardians have shown to be a very strong developmental team, and I
They have a
think
good
that
staff.
yeah, they've got a great staff. I think they've been given a lot of time, uh, to work with this, and I'm pretty excited for the change. Even
Okay.
though it's not the one that I would have made either, I am still optimistic about it,
I respect it.
more so than CLG.
It's gonna be close. I feel bad taking the under, but
Yeah.
fuck it. Rafaa's mulling.
It's a tough one for sure. Like, I don't know. I think this is also a situation where if they do decide to sub in Prismal at any point, then I think we can all agree that we're like super excited about that. But that's not guaranteed to happen at all. And it would probably change up their like leadership and shot calling a bit.
Like
So,
solo may add stability in the top lane. I know Niles took a lot of 1v1s and took a lot of 1v1 flips, ended up losing, but I don't think like Niles single-handedly lost Golden Guardians so many games. I think that narrative is bullshit, and
right.
that only losing to players like Alfari, that's when he's a player that will take that lead and push it to the ground. But not many other top laners in LCS will do that. So I like I know Solo had a pretty decent international performance with FlyQuest back in 2020. I still don't think that that move will solve Golden Guardian's problems. Um, and anytime you bring in one lane into from Academy to LCS, I'm skeptical of results. That being said, I was really impressed with Iconic, who I didn't think was going to be the best performing player on Golden Guardians, but he kind of turned out to be one of the top two.
It was Stixay, but if you say top two, I respect it.
Yeah, top two performing players on Golden Guardians, which is insane. It's like, but that's awesome for Ethan as well, because to go like, because I know Niles's competition was rough, but it's not like Iconic's competition is any easier. You're going up against Santorin.
You're in the pro leagues.
Blabber, your Spica, like you, and the fact that Iconic was able to get so many of those leads. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily Iconic's meta as much. I think, from what I remember, he was greater when he had more resources. I could be wrong.
You're right.
Because I don't remember strong Elise play. I don't remember any Lee Sin play from 2019 after CKG left. Because CKG was the rec side monster for Maryville. But Iconic was more of a Graves player, Talia player, and then he picked up the Lilia super well early on. So I will go under for Golden Guardians.
I will throw an amendment on what you were talking about with junglers, just because Niles this week on the Proving Grounds pod talked to us a lot about how he's really enjoying playing with Tim because Tim is more likely to play for his lanes than Iconic, and he feels like it fits his playstyle better. Whereas with Iconic, they'd be kind of fighting over who gets resources and tug and pull. So maybe that's why they made that swap, because Solo, thinking back to his play, fantastic weak side player, great gangplank, right? It's what he's kind of known for. Maybe that's why that might be like a better team synergy thing, and if that works out, maybe they hit the over. But I think competition's pretty stiff. That's a good point, Rafa. I like the fact he brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too is that I think Rosethorn and Niles pair up. Like, I know that Iconic and Niles were like a duo for Maryville for really long.
The
But when
duo.
you think about like notable champions in pools, like when you think of Rose Thorn, you think of Elise and Rek'Sai. And so you want to prioritize camping one lane. So in Golden Guardians Academy, you are camping top lane. You can camp mid lane if you want to, but more than likely Yumi's just gonna take a control mage and just scale and be fine. Prismal, you can gank for him, but like I mean, it's one we get into ganking meta and Elise returns to the forefront. I mean, Lee Sin is in the meta a lot right now.
Don't worry, man.
Sooner or
Riot's
later,
nerfed.
Rek'Sai's gonna pop back up as well. So like,
Riot's scared of spiders. They've nerfed Elise 3 times despite seeing 0 pro play this season. So we're not going to see any Elise. Riot's making sure of that. It's all good.
well, that's bullshit.
It's so dumb. I just
That
want to
was-
see more Elise.
I love Elise, man. She breaks the game. It's so fun watching teams play and deal with Elise. She actually breaks the game. I love it.
Yeah, when Anda played Elise against Evil Genius's Prodigies and broke Surdy's legs with Viper, that was hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. I think that wraps up the over-under. Smacks, thanks
Yeah.
so much for prepping those.
Yes. I hope you guys enjoyed the the over/under predictions. But yeah, since we already touched on the Cloud9 change, that'll be it for the LCS segment, which wraps up the show, I believe. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the second episode of Proving Grounds, Raising NA pod, because the
We're working
graphics
on
are
it.
still the Proving Grounds pod.
We're working on
But
it.
that's okay. Yeah, we're looking to get all of that online for next week. But yeah, again, this week starts off the full swing of North American League of Legends. Every single day this
So
week
many
until the
games.
next episode of Proving
Oh
Grounds
my
Pod
God.
will feature a North American League of Legends game. So watch out on all those channels. It's going to be a blast. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning into the second
There's so
episode,
many
guys.
games.
Do you Cubby's gonna have a very fun time this week, I think.
There's 20 Academy games, and there are 15 LCS games being played this week.
Yep. And the Proving Grounds games are still going on,
Which are
with
like
Cup.
probably both those combined because it's best of 5s, and we'll see how far
Yeah.
those go. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
all
a
right.
lot.
We're gonna have a lot. We're doing a lot of homework, guys. We're doing a lot of homework.
Oh
We
yeah,
got
we're
this.
gonna have a lot to talk about next week, so you guys better tune in to that one. It'll be a very fun time for Raising NA episode 3. Hopefully we have Lauren for that one too, so we have a fourth person to chat with. But yeah, again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want more updates on our stuff, definitely check us out on Twitter at pgroundspod. For all of those things, we've got a bunch of updates and everything available, and we're going to be posting the Mobalytics stuff as well there every 2 weeks. So again, shout out to Mobalytics for helping us with that. We're super excited to partner with them and give you guys that content here on Raising NA, and we're super excited to just keep talking about North American League of Legends. So thank you so much for tuning in. You can check us out on all of that. We're going to be back Sunday Eastern time at 10 every single week. So come back then. Yeah, that's it for the show. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.